Hello everyone, let me start with this. Every 2 out of 3 Americans over the age of 60 are either misdiagnosed or mistreated for high blood pressure, not because of a disease, but because of how it's measured. That's right, simple habits like crossing your legs or talking during the test can silently add up to 50 points to your reading. Shocking, right? If you're over 60 or care for someone who is, this video could save you from years of unnecessary medication or worse, missed warning signs. So hit like, follow HEALZO, and stay with me. Today we're breaking down 7 critical mistakes seniors often make during blood pressure checks and how to fix them for better heart and brain health. Number 1, canned soups and instant noodles. Hey, let me ask you something. When was the last time you had a warm bowl of canned soup or a quick pack of instant noodles? You probably thought, it's just a small meal, no big deal. But for seniors over 60, that convenience might come with a hidden cost. The problem isn't the soup or the noodles themselves, it's what's packed inside them. These foods are loaded with added sodium and artificial flavor enhancers that force your body to retain water. And when that happens, your blood volume increases, pushing your blood pressure higher than normal, often without any warning signs. The American Heart Association reports that sodium-heavy foods can cause systolic pressure to spike by 10 to 20 points, especially dangerous for older adults with heart disease or kidney issues. You might not feel anything right away, but over time, this repeated pressure wears down your arteries, straining your heart and raising your stroke risk. If you're already living with high blood pressure, or you've been told your kidneys aren't working as well as they used to, this kind of meal can quietly make things worse. Many seniors with these conditions experience swelling in their legs or dizziness after salty meals, and they don't always connect the dots. That's why, for senior health, it's critical to read those nutrition labels and aim for low-sodium options. And if you've been feeling bloated, tired, or lightheaded after eating these quick meals, don't ignore it. Talk to your doctor or a kidney specialist. A small checkup today could prevent something serious tomorrow. Number 2, deli meats and bacon. Let's be honest, you already know bacon and deli meats aren't great for you. But still, it's hard to turn down that crispy strip with eggs or a ham sandwich at lunch. It's familiar, it's comforting, and it's quick. But here's what most people over 60 don't realize. These processed meats don't just contain salt. They're packed with preservatives and additives that trigger your blood vessels to tighten. That narrowing makes your heart pump harder, and just like that, your blood pressure spikes right after eating. A cardiologist quoted by the National Institute on Aging states that this kind of hidden stress on your blood vessels increases the risk of heart attacks and strokes in older adults, especially if you already have high blood pressure or hardening of the arteries. The scary part? You won't always feel it. Some seniors notice chest tightness or feel unusually tired after meals like this, but others feel nothing at all until a bigger problem hits. This is why, when we talk about senior health, we have to be extra cautious with processed meats. It's not just about taste, it's about what happens inside your body when you're not paying attention. If you've noticed heart palpitations, shortness of breath, or pressure in your chest after a salty meal, don't brush it off. Talk to a cardiologist or your primary care provider. The earlier you act, the easier it is to take control. If you thought instant noodles were bad for your pressure, wait until you see what bacon does right after breakfast, especially if your heart's already working harder than it should. Have you cut back on bacon or deli meat lately? Drop a 2 in the comments if that's something you're trying to do for your heart. Number 3, pickles and fermented vegetables. You might think pickles, sauerkraut, or other fermented vegetables are good for your gut, and sure, that's how they're usually marketed. They're crunchy, tangy, homemade, even labeled natural or probiotic. Sounds healthy, right? But here's the part most seniors never hear about. The amount of salt used in the fermentation process is extremely high. That salt doesn't just stay in the jar, it ends up in your body. For someone over 60, especially with high blood pressure or weak kidneys, that salt can quietly do a lot more harm than good. Let me explain. When you eat salty fermented foods, your body holds on to more fluid. That increases your blood volume, which means your heart has to work harder to push that blood through your arteries. If your kidneys aren't functioning at full strength, they can't remove the excess sodium fast enough. The result? A rise in blood pressure that may not show symptoms right away, but can silently damage your heart and kidneys over time. The National Kidney Foundation states that seniors often have reduced kidney efficiency simply due to aging. So even if you've never been diagnosed with kidney disease, your body may already be more sensitive to sodium than it used to be. Add a few pickles to your plate every day, and suddenly you're dealing with daily spikes in pressure without realizing it. For senior health, fermented vegetables can still be part of the diet, but only in small amounts and not daily. Be careful with homemade versions too. Many home recipes don't measure sodium content, so what seems like just one jar could contain days' worth of salt. If you've been noticing swelling in your ankles, bloating, or even sudden weight gain, these could be early signs your body is retaining fluid. Don't ignore them. Talk to your doctor or a kidney specialist, especially if you're already managing high blood pressure or heart issues. A quick check now could help you avoid complications down the road. Pickles might sneak salt into your system, but it's those frozen dinners at night that quietly keep your pressure high while you sleep. Let's talk about what happens when your heart doesn't get to rest. Number 4. Frozen pizza and ready-to-eat meals. Ever just throw something in the microwave at night because you're too tired to cook? A frozen pizza, maybe some mac and cheese, or one of those heat-and-eat TV dinners that promise convenience in minutes. It's familiar, it's easy, and for a lot of folks over 60, it becomes the go-to solution after a long day. But here's what most people don't realize. Those quick meals may be doing the most damage when you're not even awake. See, most frozen meals are packed with sodium, not just to boost flavor, but to preserve the food itself. Alongside that, additives, artificial flavoring, and stabilizers that can make your blood vessels constrict, forcing your heart to pump harder to move the same amount of blood. The real problem is you don't feel it right away. The pressure builds slowly, and it tends to hit while you're sleeping. Researchers in the Journal of Clinical Hypertension have noted that older adults lose their natural nighttime blood pressure dip more easily. That's the time your heart is supposed to rest, but when you eat high-sodium meals late in the evening, your blood pressure stays elevated through the night and then rises even higher during that early morning surge, a period already known to be the most dangerous for heart attacks and strokes. For senior health, this disruption is especially serious. If you already have conditions like high blood pressure, arrhythmia, or heart failure, your body may not recover overnight the way it used to. The next morning, you might wake up with tightness in your neck, a dull headache, or just feel strangely foggy or off balance. Most people shrug that off, but it could be your heart sending a signal that something isn't right. What makes this even trickier is that many frozen meals look small, but the label might show over 1,000 milligrams of sodium in a single tray. That's nearly half of what older adults should have in an entire day, in just one dinner. And that doesn't count the sauce, the extra cheese, or that glass of soda you had with it. If you're someone who often eats late or relies on frozen meals, consider making a few small swaps. Look for low-sodium versions, Limit frozen entrees to a few times a week, and try eating earlier in the evening, giving your body time to digest and rebalance before bed. And if you've noticed signs like early morning dizziness, headaches, or a sudden spike in your readings after waking up, it's worth talking to your doctor or a heart specialist. They can help adjust your routine and catch issues before they become emergencies, because protecting your heart overnight is just as important as what you do during the day. Tell me this, do you usually eat dinner after 8 p.m.? If so, type 4, and let's see how common this habit really is. Number 5. Salted snacks, chips, crackers, pretzels. Can you ever catch yourself just snacking without thinking? Maybe you're watching a show, playing a card game, or talking on the phone, and there's an open bag of chips, crackers, or pretzels right next to you. One handful, then another, and before you know it, half the bag is gone. It doesn't feel like a big deal. These snacks are small, dry, and easy to eat. But that's exactly why they're so dangerous, especially for people over 60. See, most of these snacks are loaded with salt, not just sprinkled on top, but baked inside. And when you eat them gradually over 30 or 40 minutes, your body doesn't have time to signal that something's wrong. The sodium quietly builds up in your bloodstream, making your body hold on to water. That extra fluid increases the pressure inside your blood vessels, and your heart ends up working harder to push against that pressure. Over time, this raises your baseline blood pressure, and that's a serious concern for senior health. A cardiovascular nutrition expert at Johns Hopkins states that even small, repeated sodium overloads can keep your arteries in a constant state of tension. That means less flexibility, more strain, and a higher risk of heart attacks or strokes, especially if you already have high blood pressure, diabetes, or a history of heart disease. The scary part? Most people don't feel any symptoms right away. You won't get dizzy or lightheaded from just one snack. But if you've noticed your blood pressure creeping up month by month, or if you're waking up with swollen fingers or ankles, your salty snacks might be playing a bigger role than you think. So here's what you can do. Check the sodium on the label before you buy, even if the bag says baked or light. Try switching to unsalted or lightly salted nuts, air-popped popcorn, or sliced fruit if you need something to nibble on. And if you already have a heart condition or high blood pressure, it's smart to mention your snacking habits to your doctor or a dietitian. Sometimes the smallest habits are the ones that need the most attention. So yes, snacking can slowly wear your arteries down, but did you know your favorite coffee creamer might be speeding things up every single morning? Number 6. Flavored coffees and creamers. You probably love your morning coffee, most of us do. It's warm, it's comforting, it helps you wake up, and those flavored creamers, they make the whole thing feel like a treat. But here's what you may not realize. For seniors over 60, that sweet, creamy cup can quietly interfere with your heart rhythm and blood pressure, especially if you have a history of anxiety, arrhythmia, or high blood pressure. It's not just the caffeine. Many flavored creamers contain added sugars, artificial sweeteners, and chemical thickeners that act like stimulants. When you combine those with coffee, already a natural stimulant, your nervous system can go into overdrive. That can trigger a faster heartbeat, blood vessel constriction, and a temporary surge in blood pressure, sometimes by 10 to 15 points in just 30 minutes. A geriatric cardiologist quoted by the National Institute on Aging states that seniors are more sensitive to these effects because the body's ability to regulate stimulation weakens over time. So what feels like a simple energy boost could actually set off a pressure spike, or in some cases, an irregular heartbeat. When it comes to senior health, these small daily habits matter. If you've been feeling jittery, noticed fluttering in your chest, or your blood pressure seems unusually high in the mornings, that coffee and creamer combo might be the cause. And if you've recently had episodes of anxiety, chest discomfort, or shortness of breath after your morning routine, don't brush it off. Talk to your cardiologist or primary care doctor. Now, this doesn't mean giving up coffee. Instead, try scaling back to half-calf or switching to unsweetened plant-based creamers with fewer additives. And if you like it sweet, consider using a small amount of natural sweetener you can measure yourself. With a few adjustments, you can keep the ritual and protect your heart while you're at it. If you've switched to plain coffee or cut back on creamer, just type 6. Someone else reading this might need the encouragement. Number 7. Sweet breakfast cereals. Bowl of cereal in the morning sounds harmless, right? You pour it in, splash a little milk, maybe toss in some raisins or banana slices, and you feel like you're starting the day light and healthy. But here's the issue. Many sweetened breakfast cereals, even the ones that say whole grain or high fiber on the box, are loaded with added sugars and refined carbs. For seniors over 60, especially those taking blood pressure medication, this can quietly disrupt your entire cardiovascular system before noon. When you eat these cereals, your blood sugar spikes quickly, giving you that boost you feel in the morning. But what goes up must come down. Within a couple of hours, your blood sugar crashes, and your body kicks in stress hormones like adrenaline to compensate. These stress signals constrict your blood vessels and elevate your heart rate, which pushes your blood pressure higher than it needs to be. An endocrinologist featured by the American Heart Association states that older adults with high blood pressure or diabetes are more vulnerable to these sugar-driven swings. And if you're taking certain blood pressure medications, these fluctuations can reduce how well those medications work, leading to unpredictable readings throughout the day. This is an overlooked issue in senior health. A simple breakfast choice interfering with your body's ability to stay stable. You may not notice it at first, but if you're feeling shaky, lightheaded by mid-morning, or your readings bounce between too high and too low, your breakfast may be part of the problem. If that sounds familiar, talk to your doctor or a registered dietitian. There's a better way to start your morning. Switch to unsweetened oatmeal, high-fiber cereals with less than 5 grams of sugar per serving, or even a boiled egg with whole-grain toast. These options help keep your blood sugar and blood pressure steady so your medication works the way it's supposed to and your day starts on the right foot. Number 7. Sweet breakfast cereals. A bowl of cereal in the morning sounds harmless, right? You pour it in, splash a little milk, maybe toss in some raisins or banana slices, and you feel like you're starting the day light and healthy. But here's the issue. Many sweetened breakfast cereals, even the ones that say whole grain or high fiber on the box, are loaded with added sugars and refined carbs. For seniors over 60, especially those taking blood pressure medication, this can quietly disrupt your entire cardiovascular system before noon. When you eat these cereals, your blood sugar spikes quickly, giving you that boost you feel in the morning. But what goes up must come down. Within a couple of hours, your blood sugar crashes, and your body kicks in stress hormones like adrenaline to compensate. These stress signals constrict your blood vessels and elevate your heart rate, which pushes your blood pressure higher than it needs to be. An endocrinologist featured by the American Heart Association states that older adults with high blood pressure or diabetes are more vulnerable to these sugar-driven swings. And if you're taking certain blood pressure medications, these fluctuations can reduce how well those medications work, leading to unpredictable readings throughout the day. This is an overlooked issue in senior health, a simple breakfast choice interfering with your body's ability to stay stable. You may not notice it at first, but if you're feeling shaky, lightheaded by mid-morning, or your readings bounce between too high and too low, your breakfast may be part of the problem. If that sounds familiar, talk to your doctor or a registered dietitian. There's a better way to start your morning. Switch to unsweetened oatmeal, high-fiber cereals with less than 5 grams of sugar per serving, or even a boiled egg with whole-grain toast. These options help keep your blood sugar and blood pressure steady so your medication works the way it's supposed to and your day starts on the right foot. So after that last one, yeah, even your morning cereal can mess with your meds. It really makes you think, right? These aren't huge things. They're small, everyday choices that quietly add up. A bowl of soup here, a frozen dinner there, a snack while watching TV, or just standing up too quickly to check your pressure. None of it feels serious in the moment. But for folks over 60, with slower kidneys, aging arteries, maybe a heart that's not as strong as it used to be, these little things matter more than you think. Sometimes it's about when you eat, sometimes it's how much sodium is sneaking in. Other times it's just how you're sitting, or whether you're chatting during the test. But the takeaway? Your numbers aren't lying, and they're not random. They're often reacting to the little stuff you didn't even notice. And now you do. You know, after looking back at those small but serious mistakes, from salty snacks to that morning cereal, it makes you wonder, what else could be throwing off your numbers without you even knowing it? Well, here's a bonus tip, and honestly, this one might surprise you more than the rest. This is measuring blood pressure too soon after waking or moving. You ever roll out of bed, grab the cuff, and take your blood pressure before you've even made it to the bathroom? Or maybe you check it right after climbing the stairs or walking across the house to grab your machine. That might sound efficient, but for your heart, it's not the right time. See, when you first wake up, your body's still adjusting. You may be a little dehydrated, your muscles haven't fully stretched out, and your blood vessels are still catching up to your movement. Measuring your pressure in that moment or right after any activity gives you numbers that don't reflect your true resting state. For seniors, this can lead to a dangerous misunderstanding. You might think your pressure's too high and panic, or worse, you might think it's too low and stop your medication, all based on a rushed, inaccurate reading. According to a guide from the American Heart Association, the most reliable way to monitor blood pressure, especially for senior health, is to rest for at least 5 minutes before taking a reading. Sit comfortably, keep your feet flat on the floor, and don't talk or move during the test. And don't measure right after you wake up or finish walking around. Give your body time to settle first. If you've been noticing numbers that swing up and down with no clear reason, this might be the cause. Try changing when and how you measure, and you might see a clearer pattern. Better readings mean better decisions for you and for your doctor. And that last tip? Sometimes just waiting a few extra minutes before checking your pressure or giving your body time to settle can be the difference between panic and peace of mind. The truth is, when you start making these small changes, from the meals you eat to the way you measure your blood pressure, you give your heart and your brain a real fighting chance. Less guesswork, fewer swings, better control. Remember, this video wasn't just about numbers, it's about protecting your future. Because high blood pressure doesn't always shout. Most days, it whispers. But over time, it can change everything if we don't listen. So take care of yourself. Schedule a checkup, drink plenty of water, and keep a steady routine. And if this video helped you or someone you care about, follow HEALZO, share this with a friend, and let's keep looking out for each other, one small change at a time.